What's going on, everybody? Just want to make a YouTube video today about the car I bought. So behind me you can see I have a 2018 Audi S4. This is a high mileage car and I just wanted to do a review. I've been driving this car for about 6,000 or 7,000 miles now, and I figured probably now's the good time to do a review, an honest ownership review of a car that for its age has some high mileage. This is a 2018 Audi S4 and it's got 80,000 miles. Now, to some people that might be scary. For me, that's a good deal. So let's see what we got. All right, so let's get into this car here. So we have a 2018 Audi S4. Essentially, this specific vehicle, it's got 80,000 miles on it. It's got the sport package. It does not have the black optics package. And unfortunately, well, maybe fortunately, unfortunately, I'm not too sure, but this did come with the B8.5 peelers that you can see here. Is that a good thing? I don't really know. As you can see, I changed out the honeycomb grille here with the Quattro badging. I decided to go with black badges. I grayed out the reflectors with vinyl wrap, and I tried my best to make this car my own, but without doing too much. So as you can see, coming around the back of the car here, I have an ECS tuning gloss black rear diffuser. I had the black badges as well. And as you can see, overall, the car is in pretty good shape for 80,000 miles. Now, again, this car is nothing special by any means, as you can see here. But for 80,000 miles, was it a good buy or a bad buy? All right, so don't mind the Dunkin' coffee. But, I have a W2 in the door over there as well. But as you can see, I have the black with rock gray suede, quilted stitching. I do have the cold weather package, so I have the circular steering wheel, and as you can see, 79,303 on the dash as of February 12th, 2023. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to go ahead, I apologize for the shaky video here, but I'm going to go ahead and open up this hood. All right, let's go ahead and take a peek under here. So, we have the 3-liter turbo V6. Now, this car, in comparison to a B8.5 I had with the supercharged 6-cylinder, this car is pretty good. It feels a lot quicker. Obviously, the supercharger comes on a little bit quicker than this turbo here. But as you can see, this motor in and of itself looks pretty good. Obviously, it has the engine cover on here, and we have the intake box. This is completely stock. I've done absolutely nothing to this car. I don't plan on doing anything as far as engine-wise goes. I don't plan on tuning, at least for a while. This car does have, I believe, the old rocker arms. So I don't know if that's particularly an issue. I've heard, ifs, ands, or buts about it. I've heard that some people say it's just a fear-mongering thing. Other people say it's something you should be worried about. Can I say that for sure? Not really. I have no idea yet. So with that being said, at 80,000 miles, knock on wood, this car is running fantastic. As far as the engine bay goes and everything, though, it is a little bit dirty. This is a Connecticut winter. This car is daily driven, and I do drive 40 miles to and then 40 miles from home from work. With that being said, though, I do think this front end looks absolutely fantastic. I am partial to the Audi front end on the B8.5, but again, this front end is a little bit more aggressive, and I do like the styling. I was hesitant on the black badges here, but at the same time, I think it's a good contrast. I didn't want to go too crazy. I think black on black is not a good look, but black on this Daytona gray just looks absolutely fantastic. Get into some particular things on this vehicle. So, this car in particular obviously came with peelers on it. Now, I bought this car used, of course. I bought it with 73,000 miles. And not to mention here, if you just take a look under there, as you can see, there is a good amount of paint missing. Now, I did know that when I bought the car, and I do plan on fixing that in some time. Now, some of you might ask, how much did I pay for this car? Now, I want to be transparent as possible for people that are looking for a B9 S4. I may have overpaid. I don't really know, and I don't really care. I bought this car because it's something that I wanted. I had a B8.5 S4, and I switched back over to Audi after owning a BMW. I had a 4 Series. It was a 428. Great car, great little car. Good engine, I guess. 4-cylinder, super slow, but the mileage was great. But at the same time, I said to myself, this is not the car that I wanted. Let's just take another walk around this side. Now, again, I do apologize for the stabilization here. I have yet to get a true gimbal. But again, this car, absolutely fantastic. For the most part, the paint is pretty good. I threw the ECS diffuser on here. As I said before, I did the black badges. The car came with super dark tints, which I don't mind. I usually tint my cars anyways. It is a little bit darker than I would usually go. I do believe this is 5% here, but again, not anything that I truly care about. Obviously, this car is a 2018, and as you can see, it has some rust. Now, where that rust came from, I'm not too sure. But again, what are you gonna do? You know, we have some rust on the car. It's a Connecticut car. That happens. I can't do anything about it. With that being said, though, for the majority of the vehicle, though, it's super clean paint. And again, I can't really complain. For a 2018 with 80,000 miles, this car competes very well in its class. And one thing I will say about this car is that regardless of what I paid, let's just say it was below 30, but higher than 25, right? So obviously that's US dollars. I don't know what these cars go for generally, you know, in regards to this mileage, as there aren't that many in this mileage range. I have seen some S5 Sportback specifically in this mileage. Obviously, the S5 kind of calls for a little bit more of a price. But with that being said, again, can I really complain for what I paid? Not really. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty. Is this car worth buying at such a high mileage? Do I personally have any issues? I'm gonna be totally honest here. There's a few problems with this car that I don't love. Let's check that out. Again, like I said, please don't mind the interior of my car, nice and dirty. I do daily this. Another thing with this being said, this radio here does cut out. I will be driving, listening to music. Seemingly it only does it on Bluetooth. It almost leads me to believe that there's something loose, some connection or something like that, where the actual wire itself is loose. Again, can I say that's the case? I don't know. I haven't dug into it yet, but that's what it leads me to believe. I'll just be driving and the sound cuts off. But again, it's one of those things that as an owner of a car with 80,000 miles, it really doesn't bother me. The real question is, should you buy a high mileage B9 Audi with the 3.0 turbocharged motor? My honest opinion, yes. Now, why do I say that? Now you can go buy a B8.5, and some days I do miss my B8.5. But with that being said, you're getting a lot more from this vehicle. You have updated headlights, you have updated taillights, sequential turn signals. Although you do have heated front seats, you also have heated rear seats, you have a heated steering wheel with the cold weather package, a beautiful digital dash if you do get that option. There are some RS5s even out there without the digital cockpit. In my opinion, it's not really worth getting a car if you're paying this amount of money to get an analog gauge. In some cars, it's almost right. Porsches, stuff like that. You know, high horsepower BMWs, you know, the M cars, stuff like that. I can see an analog gauge. This car is more of a luxurious daily driver, and having that digital dash just kind of ties everything together. The one thing I can say, if you're gonna buy a high mileage B9 Audi with a 3.0 turbo, and even any car, I should say for that matter, do your maintenance. I got this car here, and as soon as I got it, the first thing I did was spark plugs. Why? Because I don't know when they were done. I was given the Carfax when I purchased the car, but that didn't really show me much. And again, I don't want to go off of someone's word. You know, I don't know what spark plugs were put in here. I don't know the exact mileage. And as far as the oil goes, I had the dealership do the oil change, and then I eventually went ahead and did my own with Liqui-Moly. Do I say Liqui-Moly is probably the best oil? I don't know that. Statistically, though, it does look like a pretty good oil on paper. So would I go with that? Sure, why not? But again, as long as you're doing your maintenance, I think you'll be okay. Now, obviously, there's some things with these cars that you just can't stop from happening. This axle clicking, I have no idea. The rust chipping from the previous owner, I don't even know how that happens. But again, you know these things when you purchase these cars, and if it's up to me, I'd do it all over again. it. So what I will say is do it. If you're looking at that car and you want to buy it and it works for your financial situation, do it. Can I say this car is the greatest purchase I've ever made? Financially, maybe not. But am I happy with it? 100%. This car is absolutely fantastic. There's nothing I really don't like about it. As far as the daily driver, the power, the speed, the comfortability, there's nothing wrong with getting in your car in 10-degree weather and putting on your heated steering wheel. And again, that's nothing specific to Audi, but this car just overall is absolutely fantastic. So one thing I can say is if you're thinking about it, do it. Thank you guys for watching. And if you really want to talk about your cars, please let me know in the comments how you feel about this specific vehicle, what you think I should have purchased instead of this car, or if you think this was a good buy. Please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching and subscribe.